Good afternoon, and welcome into your Tennessee Volunteers postgame live here on the Voice of College Football Network. Tucker Harlan and Jordan Binkley with you on this Saturday afternoon. If you guys like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe to Tennessee at the Voice of College Football. Really helps us out, really helps you get closer to all the great Tennessee football content that you enjoy. So we are here because Tennessee defeated UAB today 56-24 in Neyland Stadium. Jordan, what is your initial reaction to the result of this game? Because I'll tell you what, mine is very mixed.
Mine is pretty mixed too. I thought Tennessee started off the game pretty strong, like they have been all season. But I'm sure we can agree on this. I'm a little disappointed with the secondary, to be honest. It seemed like Kitna was able to throw at will at parts during the game, and I thought that was a little concerning, especially because Tennessee is going to have to play against John Mateer in Oklahoma later in the season, and I'm hoping that doesn't become an issue moving forward.
Yeah, that was one part of the game that I was not thrilled by from Tennessee today. Mainly because UAB just wasn't trying to run the ball at all at that point in the game because they were already down so far. So you got to do what you got to do, and that's why the stats are up so high in the passing game, which I guess makes sense for UAB in that scenario. But not all bad, but there were some things that I look back at and was like, Tennessee absolutely could have done better in this game. So I guess we can start on the offensive side. And I think overall, not too bad of a game for this team offensively. In fact, not bad at all, I wouldn't say. Looking at when the starters were in the game, Joey Aguilar did some nice things. He did throw the pick, but that's not his fault at all.
No.
You have a deflection like that and a ricochet and a helicopter into the arms of a defender. You can't blame him at all for that. Although I will say I think some of the drops are troublesome. It kind of started with that Peyton Lewis screen pass that he attempted and ultimately dropped. So a little bit of a disappointing play there. But overall, I mean, Joey did fine. Had the one touchdown pass to Chris Brazel. Found Kitzelman on a few plays. Of course, found Mike Matthews for a touchdown pass as well. But it's 2 weeks in a row now where you've seen this team click at the beginning of the game, and then there's like a 5-minute stretch offensively where they just are a little out of sync with each other, and then they get back in sync with each other like you saw at the end of the half, it feels like.
Yeah, I mean, I just wish that Tennessee could put a complete game all the way through. I'm not upset with the game by any means. I'm happy that Tennessee got a win and everything, but I think Tennessee needs to fight through all 4 quarters. I mean, especially towards the stretch of the season. I mean, when Tennessee has to go into Gainesville, has to go to Tuscaloosa, I mean, there's going to be some difficult situations Tennessee's going to find themselves in, and they're going to have to be able to play all 4 quarters. But you mentioned the drops. I noticed, I mean, I counted at least 2. Maybe there would have been more. There was that one in the end zone that I think was Mike Matthews. I can't recall right now,
Yeah,
but
I think it was.
yeah, but yeah. And speaking of Matthews, I think he had 2 or 3 drops during the game, which was a little disappointing for me.
Some of those, Jordan, I think were the UAB defenders making nice plays on the ball. And Joey was putting the ball where he needs to. I don't know if Mike could have played those better. I'd have to go back and look. But in real time, I didn't think he could have done a better job than he did. But there were some others I don't know if Brazel dropped one necessarily that led to that interception. Maybe he has to get his hands on there. That could also be the defender making the play too. And granted, Joey was off on some of them. Like Braylon Staley had a drop at one point in the second quarter where it looked like it was a little too far ahead of Staley. Had to extend his body a little bit to try and make a play. But overall, that you gotta correct that stuff, I feel like.
Yeah, and I mean, speaking of Aguilar, I don't know. I mean, I thought that there was a couple of good plays that he had in the game. I mean, I remember one pass. I think it was in the third quarter. I can't remember who. I mean, he zipped like a slant right there. I mean, he put a lot of mustard on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I thought it was a really good pass. I mean, it just went through the receiver's hands. But I mean, he's continues to show flashes that he can be a good quarterback. Like I know the opponent's UAB, don't get me wrong, but I mean, he threw for 371, I'm pretty sure, against Georgia last week. And I mean, he continues to show that, I mean, he's a pretty good quarterback. I mean, I think a lot of fans got to be happy with how well Aguilar's played so far. And the interceptions too. I mean, he threw one during the game. You mentioned like how it
was a
was
circus of an interception.
yeah, I mean, it wasn't his fault, and I would argue. I mean, we've talked about it before. The two from the Georgia game weren't even really his fault
Yeah.
either. I mean, so, I mean, in a roundabout way, I mean, you could. I mean, he's not really turning the ball over.
Yeah. My other than some of the timing on some of those routes in the second quarter, my only real criticism of Joey Aguilar in this game is don't be taking those hits against UAB. If this is a tight game against Alabama or any other SEC opponent, Florida down the road, for example, I'm okay with that. Don't be doing it in a game like this because those pile up after a while if you're a running quarterback. And I think today was not a day you were looking to see that from him.
No, no. I mean, I think there was that. I think there was like one run. I can't remember what quarter it was in, but he like escaped the pocket and he looked like he took a decent hit. I mean, it wasn't no like highlight. It wasn't like a highlight hit stick or anything like that. But I mean, he definitely took a little bit of a shot. Um, but yeah, like I said, I'm overall impressed with him. I'm a little impressed with the running backs today too. I mean, I was
Yeah.
expecting more with Star Thomas, and I think he played pretty well. Like when he was on the field, I mean, he was moving the ball downfield. But Dwayne Morris, I mean, I think Dwayne Morris and Peyton Hillis really stepped it up during the game. How'd you feel about him?
Morris, I think he had that one long run wiped away,
Yeah,
unfortunately. But he had the one kickoff return too. I'm surprised the refs did not catch that face mask there because there was a face mask on that play. Granted, it was a 39-point game, so they're probably not going to throw the flag there. I thought Lewis got better as the game went on. I thought that option pitch there at the end of that half was something that was a wrinkle to this team that we hadn't seen much of in the past. Was it because it was Star Thomas who had the shovel pass
yes, yeah,
catch because for the touchdown because it's showing up as his one reception in this game. I still think he's your best running back overall. I feel like because Peyton Lewis did make some plays in this game, but overall I'm just not as high on him as I am the other two. Thought Deshaun Bishop played a nice game as well today for Tennessee when he got in. But I think this staff still considers him as maybe the top back in this group. So not as many carries for him in this game. And I guess Starr didn't get a ton for that reason too. But you look at what he was doing early in the game. He was running at will on them early in that game. So 235 on the ground for Tennessee in this game, 4 touchdowns. Peyton Lewis, Star Thomas, a touchdown each. Bishop, 2 touchdowns for the Vols. Not a ton of dominant receiving performances. They spread the ball around a little bit, as you might expect. Did give up the first true sack today, but that was in garbage time. So I stick a little bit of an asterisk next to that just because we don't really consider that a sack at this point in the game or at that point in the game. Like it's a yes, they did give up the sack, but at the same time, it's the 2s and 3s that are out there protecting your quarterback, not the ones at that point. In garbage time, because I did want to see what Tennessee did at quarterback. We did not get to see George McIntyre today. It's going to be a minute before I feel good about Jake Merklinger potentially being a starter next year because he uncorked one there at the end of the game to Braylon Harmon, the walk-on wide receiver. But before that, he was just 2 of 6 for 16 yards against UAB, which that's not good. UAB had not done well against Tennessee at all defensively. Vols were mostly able to move the ball at will. I believe the only TFL up until Merklinger got into the game was the botched exchange, which is something else we need to address. Again, they have one of those per game right now, and you do that against a better opponent in that situation, you could really get yourself in trouble. Um, but back to what I was saying, again, I don't feel good about Merklinger potentially inheriting that role right now. Again, we didn't get to see any McIntyres, so it's not as if I know of a better candidate right now, because we've only seen him in one game, and it was ETSU. But not too happy with the garbage time stuff overall.
Yeah, I'm on the same page with you. Like, I don't think Merklinger played bad. I mean, per se. I mean, his stats aren't anything. I mean, to be happy about. But I mean, like, my biggest concern with Merklinger is like, it seems like he dances around a little bit in the backfield, or at least for a couple of plays. And I was panicking a couple of times watching the game because I mean, the offensive line has been so spectacular throughout the year. I'm like, no, 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 you're about to give up a sack. Like, I mean, most of the time he escaped and ended up being fine. But I mean, like, you're going against a better defense. You're getting sacked in the backfield almost 100% of the time, like with some of the things he was doing back there. So, I mean, but I mean, Joey Aguilar is still the starter, and we're starting to find out more and more why Josh Heupel chose him heading into the season. But yeah, I was a little disappointed with like him like taking time to make decisions and everything. But then once again, he is the backup quarterback at the end of the day.
Yep. Yep. And none of the other guys really caught my eyes in terms of just making big plays late in the game for Tennessee. You didn't see much outside of Dwan Morris, and his best play got called back, unfortunately. First time in a while where it's felt like Tennessee has not been penalized a ton in the game. I know Jesse Perry had the whole 3 penalty play there at one point, but only 5 for 50 yards for Tennessee today, which is not terrible. You would hope for that against a team like UAB. 13 for 110 on the other side for UAB. Some of which were just absolutely crazy. First, and we didn't get to see this because they were having technical difficulties for UAB's first drive on SEC Network, but
Your audio's messing up a little bit. Wait, hold up. I think you're muted.
how is this? Is that better?
Perfect.
Okay. I don't know what happened. I did not touch anything. But I was talking a little bit about that targeting on the punt return, which is kind of goofy. I don't know why you would do that. It just feels like a very boneheaded decision by the UAB player to do that. And then number 2, another special teams penalty. Did that guy have Tennessee money line against Georgia last week that stomped on Max Gilbert's shin?
Oh yeah, man. What was that about?
That's a way to not get yourself scheduled for like another 10 years. And
he didn't even get ejected, right?
No ejection. That should be an ejectionable offense, honestly. I mean, that's just as bad as punching a guy, in my opinion, stomping on a guy's shin.
I mean, he's intentionally trying to injure him at that point, too. I mean, I mean,
that's not great. But those were the penalties that I wanted to call attention to that UAB committed today. Some very odd decisions by their guys. I guess we could shift over to the defense now, which I think is the part of this game that we are a little disappointed in, honestly. You got a few sacks over the course of this game, which I think is nice. But outside of that, like, again, you get your sacks and your TFLs, but you give up a lot in the passing game. Jordan, you mentioned Jalen Kitna throwing at will in many scenarios late in that second half, going for over 300 yards passing. And it's a little hard to say who's really at fault here because UAB, and this is typical of a lot of Group of 5 teams that are playing the Power 4. and playing in these bye games is they throw a lot of just crazy stuff at you, like pitchers who don't throw fast in baseball, they just throw junk. That's essentially what UAB was doing in this game. You had 4 guys over to the left of the quarterback, one of which was an offensive lineman, maybe 2. I mean, I didn't have a great look at it, but they were just throwing all kinds of funky formations at Tennessee. And that's what they tried to do to try and make it an entertaining game for themselves. And that's one of the plays in which they got a touchdown. And then other times they put in the Wildcat quarterback whose name is escaping me, and he just outrun all the defensive linemen. And they'd have receivers snapping the ball. It looked like something out of a flag football game. Really bizarre stuff that Trent Dilfer was throwing out there. So that's part of it. But another thing that bothered me is like you have your starters in there in the first half, and you're playing 20 yards off your wide receivers. Why? Why are you doing that? It makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, Tennessee's defense definitely left some things on the table. I mean, let me just see right here. Yeah, 371 total passing yards, and like you said, like you said, yeah, that is a lot. But I mean, UAB did have to pass the ball to stay in the game, but it's like, dang, I mean, 371 yards to a power 4 or a group of 4 opponent, not what you really want to see, especially because Tennessee's been hampered with the defensive backs. And it wasn't Redmond who went down earlier in the game and they ended up returning. McMurray. He ended up coming back, which is good. But I mean, like the fact that he was on the laying on the field to begin with had me nervous. I mean, considering Gibson's out, McCoy's out, and I mean, Tennessee already gave up a lot of passing yards to Georgia last week, and we weren't too high on Gunnar Stockton going into that game. And of course, opinions have changed a little bit now, but I mean, what used to be a strong suit for Tennessee seems like it's starting to become a liability with the defensive backfield.
Yeah, and it all relates to injuries, unfortunately, with Ricky Gibson and Jermon McCoy still out. And it's like once somebody gets injured and they don't have a definite timetable, it's just a whole mystery with Josh Heupel, it feels like. And that's what's going on right now. You don't know when either of those guys are going to be back. You don't know when Jackson Moya is going to be back, which is something that I think is really hurting this defensive front. David Sanders, not that the offensive line played bad today with the starters, but you have got to get better in that department. Absolutely. So you got to get those guys back at some point. And I honestly, at this point, it's hard to say if you'll see Ricky Gibson or Jermon McCoy or even David Sanders again this year, because David Sanders, his injury, they think he could be on track to be back, but it's like a nerve issue, which is really bizarre in his shoulder. Like there's more to it than we originally thought. And it's a concerning situation to have develop. And I mean, just looking around the league right now, like you've got quarterbacks doing well. Like Blake Shapen is a solid SEC quarterback, and I'm going to say it again this week. He's like even when they were losing all those games at the beginning of last season and before he went down against Florida, he looked solid for them in different instances in that point in the season. I mean, obviously you got Taylon Green down the road, John Mateer, like you said, Jordan. So it's a group that is going to be challenged a lot in SEC play. And this is kind of your final big test to really see what this Tennessee team is made of next week against Mississippi State, just because you haven't seen them play a true road game yet, because the game in Atlanta obviously doesn't count. Seen them play a big home game, but how do you handle that environment next week, I think, is a big question, and something we're going to talk a lot more about this week on the show. But defensively, you'd like to see this team try and get right. And there were moments, you had 2 turnovers in this game, one of which was a touchdown for Caleb Beasley. That's a special moment for him doing that against his former high school coach. Something we talked about this week too, leading up to the game. But I mean, there's some other things that you just call in question. Like Boo Carter very easily could have gotten a personal foul penalty for slamming the guy. And one other thing I noticed too about Boo Carter today, obviously there's the muff punt. People were not happy about that. That gave UAB 3 points essentially. But there was a play going around on Twitter. I think Vol Night Long was the account that tweeted it. I saw it. He got a tackle for loss. Nobody came up and celebrated with him.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, you can look it up. I saw it earlier today. I was just like, wow, like this whole situation with Boo Carter, it's like a toxic girlfriend at this point. She does, not that I've ever been in a relationship or anything, but she's doing all these things to try and please you, like rattling off a big punt return today, getting a couple tackles for loss, but also muffing a punt, maybe committing some dumb mental errors as well. Like at some point, you are going to either have to say, we need you to get yourself right, because he's out there with the twos and the threes today too. He's not just with the starters. Get yourself right or get out. That's what it feels like with Boo Carter right now. There's no other way to put it.
Yeah, I mean, and he's made strides. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, he's improved on defense throughout the season, or at least in my opinion. I mean, on that Beasley touchdown, he was the one that knocked the ball out. But yeah, that body slam that he had on the player, like that was a little concerning. And I didn't see what you saw on Twitter. With no
I'll
one
send it to you.
Yeah. But I didn't see that, but honestly, I'm not so surprised. Like, I was wondering if I was looking into things too deep during the off season, but I was watching some of those clips of Boo Carter at practice. And of course, like, he was doing his own individual thing, trying to work together with the team. But I mean, he just seemed kind of like isolated and by himself and everything. And I could imagine that the team would be extremely frustrated with him, considering what all happened in the offseason, and especially like after losing Nico and all of that too. And even before all of that happened, Tennessee lost a lot of people in the transfer portal. And like Boo Carter was just like, I mean, it was like the most notorious situation outside of Nico. And like, I don't even like, from someone that's played football before, I mean, I know how much like how much the locker room matters. And if you got a guy that, even though if he's really good, I mean, if he can't mesh well with the team and the team doesn't like him, then I just don't really know honestly, I just don't know really what to think. I mean, Boo Carter, I mean, unless he starts playing to his all SEC or like all American potential that a lot of people thought that he could be, then I don't know if he is worth being on the team, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an upsetting situation, and he's in a position to succeed. He really is. He's just got to, figure it out for himself, be more mature. I know those things are easier said than done, but it's very frustrating to have to sit here and watch this and be critical of him because he's doing all these dumb things. Let's just call it like it is. It's not fun for any of us that are having to cover this. Okay, let's take a look around college football right now, just see what else is going on. Memphis taking down Arkansas earlier today. Man, is there a more cursed athletic program than Arkansas right now? They have lost 2 weeks in a row by fumbling the football on their opponent's side of the field. They did it at Ole Miss last week. They did it at Memphis this week. Their defense does not look great either. Scored 31 points today against Memphis. Taylor Green threw 2 interceptions. The first one I saw was really bad. He just didn't even see the defender floating over, and he was like, his receiver was running out of bounds, first of all, so he should never have made the throw. And then this defender was just sitting there and saw the football and grabbed it. I did not see the second one. I'll go back and look at that. But, yeah, bad stuff today from Arkansas in Memphis. Obviously, the Tigers are never a slouch. So disappointing loss for them in Memphis, and it only gets tougher from here, man. They got Notre Dame before their bye week, and then they're coming to Tennessee. So tough road ahead for those guys.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like Arkansas's game's got to calm some of the nerves of Tennessee fans. I mean, I know no one really expected Tennessee to lose to Arkansas last season. Like, I'll say it, like I didn't think that it would even be a close game when Tennessee played Arkansas, but I mean, we all know how the result of that game ended up going. But the fact that, I mean, don't get me wrong, Memphis is a pretty good team. I mean, they could very well see themselves being in the college football playoffs this season. But I mean, it's just got to feel good to just know that Arkansas has already been like dropping some games early. I mean, it's got to make the team and the fans more confident when when Arkansas heads into Knoxville here soon.
Yeah, absolutely. So tough loss for the Razorbacks today. They're 2-2. They could very well be 4-0. They could very well be 4-0 right now, but they've lost all these games just by fumbling the ball away. One might say stumbling and fumbling, like they did in 1998. Some other games in the SEC, Auburn and Oklahoma are tied at 3 early second quarter. That game is, of course, of interest because Tennessee has Oklahoma later on down the line. Mississippi State, who Tennessee plays next week, is up 7-3 late first quarter on Northern Illinois. I believe they just scored another touchdown, actually, so that would be 14-3. I think.
It's still updating on my end.
If my ESPN app will update, we'll see what happens. So that's all you got in the SEC going on right now. Other games of interest tonight, you've got Vandy playing Georgia State, Miami playing Florida. Tennessee does not play either South Carolina or Missouri, but those two are playing each other as well. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but Ole Miss is up big on Tulane right now, 20-3 late in the second quarter. So good for the Rebels. One other game that is intriguing, and I think a very good sign for all of us Tennessee fans out there. Syracuse up 34-14 on Clemson after the third quarter. That game was in a lengthy delay, I think, at halftime. But even before halftime, Syracuse was putting it on them. I obviously haven't been able to watch much of it just because Tennessee was playing while that was going on. But I saw Steve Angeli was hurt at one point. He's thrown a couple touchdown passes for them. Their backup quarterback, Ricky Collins, has also thrown a touchdown pass as well. They did lose one fumble. Clemson, that is, lost a fumble. And they're just having to try and play their way back into this game. Dabo tried to rally the troops this week, but they are looking at 1-3 out there in Death Valley, which is shocking. Actually shocking, because everybody in the national media landscape had them on this pedestal. They are by far the best team in the ACC, and that's just not reality this year for Clemson. Like, we'll see if it actually happens, but there exists a reality in which, looking at their schedule, they could be 6-6 or 5-7 to end the year. It's not impossible.
Yeah, honestly, it's really shocking because, I mean, I was one of those people with the media too. I mean, I thought that Clemson was going to be one of the better teams because, like, I mean, Dabo Swinney, he's been there, done that. He's won like 2 national championships, I think, with Clemson. And I mean, he's been at the biggest stage multiple times. I mean, he's been the national championships that he's lost as well. So, I mean, with Nick Saban being gone, I mean, even though Clemson didn't have the best season last year by their standards, I mean, I assumed that with returning Klubnik and everything that they were going to be like a top 4 team in college football this year. But I mean, I'll admit, I mean, I was pretty wrong about that. But I mean, it's so exciting seeing Syracuse being up big on Clemson right now. And like, I don't know if you've been checking up with all of the college football stats, but Steve Angeli was leading the nation in passing yards heading into this game, which I also found interesting. Like, credit to Fran Brown. I mean, like, if Steve Angeli keeps this up, I mean, he could have back-to-back years with the leading passer in the country, which is honestly pretty impressive for Syracuse.
Yeah, I think Fran Brown does not have a stellar roster, but that speaks volumes about what he can do as a coach. And Tennessee would love more than anything to see their win age like fine wine against Syracuse as the season goes on, because and I get it, a win's a win, so you can't really complain about how it ages over the course of the season. But the last couple of years, Tennessee's beaten an ACC opponent. They've not done well over the course of the year because Virginia, I don't know what we were expecting to Virginia to do in 2023, but they were not good. NC State ended up being a bit of a joke too, 6-6. I believe a loss in the Military Bowl. But good for Syracuse for doing this if they can pull it off down there in Death Valley. But that's all we got in the world of college football right now, just at least in terms of Tennessee opponents. I think the I'm blanking. ETSU and Elon is the one other game where our Tennessee opponent plays tonight. That's what I was trying to think of. Which, by the way, their former coach got a big win last night against Oklahoma State.
Oh yeah, it's rough.
Yeah,
It's rough there.
and Brentwood High School alum Baylor Hayes did as well. We don't like Mike Gundy in Tennessee country. He used those job openings as leverage to get more money out of Oklahoma State, and now it looks like he's been ripping them off. That guy's a dead man walking out there. It feels like so. You have one or two coaches that I think are, if not in the next couple of weeks, they will be gone at the end of the season. In him and Luke Fickell, you've already seen two get fired earlier this year, one of which coaches a certain Polynesian quarterback that we know a thing or two about in the Rose Bowl. So some quotes are starting to trickle out of the press conference. We played 16 true freshmen just in the first half today. We needed those guys. We need them. From Josh Heupel. So.
Oh, okay. I thought you were talking about Mike Gundy for a second.
No. I'm looking at some of the stuff from his press conference. He was talking about defensive injuries. He said, sure, yeah, don't have two corners, don't have some big interior guys. It changes things. But does anybody care? No, nobody cares. You win games or you lose games. They will care if you lose a game. Yeah. Honestly, it'd be very concerning if you lose next week in Starkville and it's because you get beat by Brennan Thompson down there at Mississippi State at wide receiver because you don't have your two best corners out there.
Yeah, Tennessee's going to have to get people healthy for the rest of the season. That's for sure. We saw it with the defensive backfield today, but just in general, and I'm curious, I didn't know about that nerve injury apparently with David Sanders, but I've started to wonder, and there's no speculation, so I'm not trying to start anything here, but just me personally, I've wondered, with how well Tennessee's offensive line has played this season, if they continue to keep it up and David Sanders doesn't really play, what do you think the odds are of him transferring after the year?
I would say he transfers. I think you just redshirt him potentially. Just get him ready to go for next year. I feel like is the best course of action.
That would be. Because I think I'm still excited for David Sanders. I think you've said before that he's the highest rated recruit that Josh Heupel ever gotten up into that point.
Yeah.
So it's going to be exciting to see him get on the field whenever that is. But so far Tennessee seemed to play pretty good in his absence. It almost makes me wonder, if he can get fully healthy, does Tennessee's offensive line take a step up? Are they about the same? Because, he is a 5-star recruit. I'm sure he could elevate the team significantly if he lives up to his potential.
Absolutely. Well, I don't have too much more on the game, Jordan. I feel like this is a fairly simple breakdown. Anything else that we missed?
I'll say there's something that I caught on to that was pretty funny. It doesn't really have to do with the game itself, but I noticed that UAB, not only did they have a player named AJ Johnson, which shout out to one of my favorite Tennessee football players of all time, AJ the Beast Johnson, but they also have an AJ Brown on the team too, which I thought was really interesting.
Yeah, was AJ Brown the guy that recovered the muff punt for Boo?
I can't remember when I didn't.
He was.
He may have been. I just noticed that one time they had the camera panning down, and I saw an AJ Brown on the back of the jersey, and I already heard AJ Johnson's name mentioned a couple of times. So I'm like, well, look at this. We got two Tennessee guys returning.
Yeah. All right, so I guess we can do this to close out the show here. Any just big takeaways from today that things that you didn't already know about this team?
Um, well, I mean, I did have a couple. No, I mean, I already mentioned earlier. I thought Peyton Lewis stepped up a little bit. I don't know. Like, just once again, I'm just impressed with Joey Aguilar. I mean, I know his stats weren't as good as last week, but I mean, like he had like a sideline throw there at one point, or that was pretty good. I mean,
He
he's just
he wriggled his way out of a sack at one point, didn't he? I
uh-huh.
forget who he threw it to. Maybe Mike Matthews.
And then that was the drop, I'm pretty sure, that Mike Matthews had in the end zone, if I'm not mistaken.
It wasn't on that play, but because it was like a screen, or not, what really a screen. It was like a wheel or something down the sideline. I'd have to go back and look. But he did get out of a sack, doing his offensive line some favors there.
Yeah, I mean, I've just been so impressed with him so far. I mean, like he's got the ability to run if he wants to, but that's never his first option. I mean, he sits there comfortably in the pocket. He makes his reads. He's really accurate. I've thought. I mean, of course, he's had a couple of misthrown passes. I think he had one deep ball or maybe a couple during this game.
Yeah.
Uh, but like, I mean, he's confident. He can stay in the pocket. If he has to escape the pocket, he can throw on the run. And not only can he throw on the run, he can do it running to the left. And he's a right-handed quarterback and still complete the pass perfectly into the receiver's hands. I mean, I think he's a pretty special player. And I'll be honest, I wasn't expecting it from Joey Aguilar heading into this season.
Yeah. Well, I think you hit the nail on the head with Peyton Lewis. Numbers were down a little bit today for Joey because he took some shots early in the game down the field. And then they just tried to ground and pound after that. Still think this offensive line is doing well despite this kind of a makeshift group. You didn't really expect it to look like this at this point in the season, just with the personnel that you had going into the year. And again, defensively, it's like, can you get these guys healthy? And there's some real concerns, like potentially with coaching, because some of that is coaching. Let's call it like it is. You know, why are you playing guys, or how are guys getting like 20 yards of separation down the field for UAB? That should not be happening, because if that's happening against UAB, that's a problem against anybody else in the SEC. And I get it; they were throwing junk at you because that's about all you can do if you're one of those teams, with the talent disparity. But you should not be letting guys get that degree of separation.
Well, especially because it got to the point where they were throwing so many passes that you should have expected it from that point. Like that was one of my biggest disappointments with the defense. I mean, UAB was throwing most of the game. It's like, they're not going to run the football. So I don't know what the issues there were with covering the receivers, but I mean, it's definitely concerning. Like when you know what's going to happen and you still can't stop it, especially against an opponent like UAB, like, come on now.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Jordan, that's about all I got. Have you got anything else for us
I
on this
got
Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, I got one more thing because I've been trying to track it throughout the season because I found that it's actually a harder stat to find out than you would think. But if my math is correct, Tennessee has only given up 10 tackles for a loss through 4 games, which I think is something to be very excited about.
Yeah, you had what, 3 today that you gave up?
3 today, 3 against Georgia, or no, 2 against Georgia, I think, 3 against Syracuse, and I think 2 against Kent State.
That's not too bad. Speaks
Yeah.
well what the offensive line is doing. And again, most of it today was garbage time, as opposed to the last few weeks. All right, well, that'll do it for us on the Tennessee Volunteers post-game show live here on the Voice of College Football Network. Again, we will catch up with you guys on Monday. We'll talk a little bit more about this game, then talk a little bit about the Mississippi State game next week. Hoping to have a preview, I think, Tuesday night as well with some of the Mississippi State guys here on the channel, or in the network, I should say, in the Voice of College Football Network. We'll watch a little bit of their game today just to see what they got going on against Northern Illinois. Not that we're going to learn a ton, but they've already had one pretty nice win this year over Arizona State. But again, if you like what you see, please like, share, and subscribe to Tennessee at the Voice of College Football. Again, we are live every Monday night at 8 Eastern Time. Look for a special preview next week as well against Mississippi State. For Jordan Binkley, I am Tucker Harlan. We will talk to you guys again on Monday.